Welcome back to Talk.
No Jutsu.
Hey.
Episode two. Episode two.
Yes.
Uh, our schedules were conflicting, so we couldn't really, and like life, and we're old, so uh, we've
We
got
in the words of the Rugrats, we got responsibilities.
yeah, we got responsibilities. Um, so this time we watched. It's a shojo, right? That's what it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, the
a
shoujo.
shojo. I have never ever watched a romance anime.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Okay. So, yeah, this was so we watched The Sign of Affection, 12 episodes. Um it was there we talked right before we started, and Chris had said that there's not very much to talk um about this. It was very straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Um but ever or whatever. However, what were your expectations about like going into this?
I had absolutely zero.
Me
I was just like,
either.
I'm gonna just watch this.
Me too. I was like, okay, I know nothing about this. And then after in the very first episode, I was like, okay, a sign of affection, whatever, let's just watch it. And then right when you saw that she had hearing aids, I was like, that's why it's called a sign of affection. It makes so much sense now.
See, you went in knowing absolutely nothing. I went in after when I like Googled where to watch this, it popped up with like a little 2 sentence blurb, and I was just like, oh, cool. And then I was like, okay, Crunchyroll.
Nothing. Fucking blind. Just I didn't even I knew nothing. I knew nothing about it. I had seen it a couple times there. I had no idea that it was like that it was going to be that. I had no clue that it was going to be about someone who was deaf, and yeah, I had no expectations. I was like, all right, let's see where this goes. The one thing that I will say about this is my shonen brain constantly kept thinking that something was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt the same. And what was interesting was after I watched it, I looked to see what people, because I wanted to see, like, since my overall thoughts was like, this was cute. It's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't really do much for me. It wasn't bad, but, I went to go see why people loved it. And I found equal amounts loved and equal some amounts, in my opinion, valid criticism, at least where these people were coming from, right? Where they were
Oh.
talking about um how they felt like some of the scenes where it felt like um Itsuomi was a little bit like more controlling or protective or possessive. And there was an interesting, for Reddit anyway, an interesting back and forth in the comments talking about like, okay, you have to remember that you're judging this based off of an American upbringing, US culture, whereas this is
Yes.
Japanese culture, and
Yes.
everything is different dating wise and everything like that. Um, and so I was just like, okay, that's valid. And I saw people that are just like, they loved sort of like the straightforwardness of it, and they thought, oh, the romance was cute. And I do think I have to agree with some of the other people. It's like I found the side characters more interesting, or the side characters' romance and pairings more interesting than the main characters.
Agreed.
Like I thought the main characters individually interesting, but together,
So I it's interesting because again, my shonen brain was like when they were waiting, remember that part where they were waiting and the train came by and he
mm-hmm.
had just got I was like something's going to happen. Some biker's going to come out of nowhere and like knock her into the train, something, right? Like because my shonen
Mm-hmm.
brain is like something has to happen, but nothing happened, right? It was just very
Yeah.
straightforward, very linear, very like and I'm okay with that. Like it's a nice it's a it's a breath of fresh air,
Mm-hmm.
especially because like I'm a shonen head. But I agree. I think the Emma and Shin
Mm-hmm.
story was really cool. I liked the backstory that they had. Um, I liked her friend. Who was it? Rin and
Itsuomi's cousin.
Yeah, yeah. I liked their thing, especially when she like started to confess and then he was like, I'm not really like into stuff like that. But when it's with someone like you, I'm
Mm-hmm.
really all for it, right? Like so there were moments where I was like, yeah. Um and it's interesting that you say that a lot of people were like criticizing it. Because I went into it knowing what Japanese culture is like in the dating scene, right? Like not from experience, but just like from what I've read, right? And like what I like learned while I was in Japan. Um, and it's very, very that, right? Like they're not
Mm-hmm.
very affectionate. They're not very like holding hands is like the most that they'll do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, yeah. What I'm curious, what other criticisms were there?
So one of the things they were talking about was like, you know how what was Homeboy's name that knew
Oh,
Yuki from
Oshi.
Yes, when they were going to the mall, I think this is like episode 4-ish, when they were going to the mall or the shopping center or wherever, and Oshi was just like, "Oh, what time did you get home last night previously?" And then
Oh
Itsuomi
yeah.
walks up and like covers her eyes or whatever, and then Oshi's like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that, like you shouldn't cover her eyes and sneak up from behind her." And then Itsuomi is like, "Well, Yuki said it was okay when it was with me." And it was just like, obviously, that's a dig at Oshi
Yeah.
because it's when we learned their past the last episode. But also, somebody was just like, you took away her ability to be able to understand the conversation because she can't read lips because she covered her eyes. And I was like, they're like, she's disabled. Like that's pretty messed up. And I was like, that's fair.
That's valid.
That's
Yeah.
valid.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that's fair. And I was just like, yeah, okay, that's a valid criticism. And then some people didn't like. They felt that Itsuomi was too perfect, and I didn't necessarily see that. Like, I mean, he was a polyglot for sure, and he was a
Yeah.
smart dude, but like I mean, what else did you like? What did you want him to have some shady history with? I don't know what they wanted there, but there wasn't as much. Maybe they wanted more romantic conflict.
So
Um,
that so it's interesting that you say that like they wanted him to be something because that's what I thought. But again, that was my shonen brain. I was like,
mhm,
this dude just randomly goes out of his way for a girl that he just met, right?
mhm,
And he's got to have some ulterior motive. There's got to be like something that he's like after. And you know, episode 6, 8, 9, and I'm like, okay, maybe he genuinely is like really like into her, and and then like that scene where she laughed and she
mhm.
like felt some type of way about it. She was like, oh God, like I let that out. And he was like, no, I really like that. Like I can't wait to make you do that again. That was for me. That was the moment where I was kind of like, all right, maybe he really does like her.
And you know what else it also is, and it's not just shonen brain, it's American rom-coms. There's a
Yes.
formula to rom-coms
Yes.
where you have the meet cute, maybe a little bit of a slow burn, they get together, and then at like the beginning of the third act, one of them does something dumb
Yep.
and it breaks them up, and then you have the big finale where they all have to meet up at the end, and yeah,
Yeah,
the
you're right.
airport scene or
Or the
the
the wedding scene, or the party scene, or the cafe scene.
yeah
Yeah, yeah,
Grand
yeah.
Central Station scene, yeah, like anything like that. I say Grand Central Station because a couple of weeks ago I watched Friends with Benefits with
Oh yeah, with
Mila Kunis
Mila
and
Kunis and Justin Timberlake. Yeah.
Justin Timberlake. The superior version of that plot versus No Strings Attached with Ashton
Ashton
Kutcher and
Kutcher and,
Natalie
and
Portman.
Natalie Portman.
Yes.
That's interesting because, well, that could be for another
Yeah.
conversation.
But it did make me realize in watching this, I feel like I prefer, even though it annoys me to no end when I'm watching this on the TV show, for a romance, I prefer a slow burn.
Yeah.
Where, especially where we're like one is definitely pining for the other, but the other one's unavailable. And I think I prefer that versus some of the straightforward. Like what about you? Do you prefer good friends to lovers, a slow burn, enemies to
So
lovers?
I like the slow burn. I like the friends to lovers.
Mhm.
Because like it starts off like fun and fine, and then eventually turns into like something more romantic, right? Like, obviously. But you're right. Like this was. I mean, is all shojo like this, where it's just like straightforward, right? I,
Yeah, I don't know. I did see some people make some recommendations based on like if they loved them with some other ones. I do not remember what they were. I
yeah.
could go back in my Reddit history and find it.
Sure.
It's not going to be that hard. But I think, also, for the Disney friends or Disney fans, this Beauty and the Beast is barely even friends, then somebody bends unexpectedly. Yeah, this
I
is
know.
like, yeah, yeah, yeah. They just went straight for it.
I know, and that I think that was the part where I was kind of like, okay, when he was like, I want you, let's date, and she was like,
Hmm.
wait, what? And
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, you're my girlfriend, and if that's okay with you, and she was like, yeah, yeah, like there was no, there was no like, I guess there was no courting, you know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
Like it was just like, hey, it was very middle school. Hey, I
Hmm.
like you. Do you like me? I guess so. Okay, we're boyfriend girlfriend, right? But like
Yeah.
obviously in a more like adult kind of way and whatnot. But it didn't seem. That's why to me it didn't really seem genuine because like, um, uh, Emma and Shin was his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had more of like we've been friends for so long. I had feelings for you. How do you feel? And then she kind of like, was like, I did have these feelings for you, but you did tell me that you would never date. You'd rather kill yourself than date me, right?
Which
Um,
I
and
was just like,
I
I don't know if I've said that exact thing to. I don't think I would ever say that, but I think there are definitely friendships where you're just like, absolutely not.
yeah, never,
You
right?
the homie for real, but no, God no.
And he literally just took it to that ultimate step and was like, I
Hmm.
would rather die than ever fall in love with her.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I guess that part kind of upset me because I was like, dude, and it's the same thing with Oshi, right? Oshi had his chance with her.
Hmm.
Oshi could like, but instead he did the typical like middle school, high school boy thing where you treat someone like shit and
Hmm.
expect them to like see that you have feelings for them. And then he
Yeah.
didn't really like express feelings until he couldn't have her. And that kind of
Right.
frustrated me because I'm like, dude, you're a guy that knows her. You're a guy that knows her disability, knows everything about her, knows like how to sign. You've taken sign language because she's important to you. Fucking do something.
Yeah.
And he doesn't until Itsuomi shows up.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I know that that's like the writing and everything like that, but it is that I feel like that was frustrating. However, I digress. Yeah, Shin and Emma's story I really liked a lot.
Hmm.
Rin and his cousin's story I really liked a lot too because it that was more along the lines of like, will they, won't they? Is there
Hmm.
tension? Meanwhile, Yuki and Itsuyomi were just like, we're
We're here.
together.
Yep.
How
And
did
I
you, go ahead?
And I will say, in between the first and second episode, it's only like day one and then day two. But the
Yeah.
way she was talking about it at the beginning of day two, I'm like, oh, it's been a couple weeks, right? And it was like, oh no, this is the next day. And I'm
Yes.
like, oh, okay. I was just like, because obviously the friend teased her at the beginning or midway through the first episode. Is like, are you in love? No, you're just crushing. And then she was like, how do I know the difference? And then I was just like, homie saw you on a train, talked to you for a couple minutes, palmed your head like a basketball, and then left. And then you saw him at a restaurant, and I'm just like, then he palmed your head again.
Right? So, how do we feel about Yuki as a protagonist?
I like her. I think she's cool.
I
She's
think,
hilarious.
thank you. She is so, dude. I laughed so much at just like her expression. And you had mentioned before that we started recording that like you kept going back between dubbed and sub, and I
Hmm.
did the same thing. There were times where like I'd be doing stuff, and I'd watched it in English so that like I can like continue to do things and watch. But then there were other times where I just like sit down and I'd watch it in sub, and she's hilarious in both languages.
Hmm.
Like the animation with her facial expressions were great. Like I
She is both intentionally and unintentionally funny.
yes, 1000%. Um, I do. I mean, we already touched on this about like the authenticity of their romance between Yuki and Itsuomi. Um, I do feel like it's authentic, but it's hard to. You had mentioned the American rom com, but it's hard to get out of my brain to be like, oh, there's got to be some kind of like maybe he's just like weird and trying to take advantage
Hmm.
of her, but but he didn't, and I think there's supposed to be a second season. I thought it was just a one shot.
Yeah, the manga's still going.
I had no idea. I
Yeah.
literally had zero clue. I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, when I first typed it in, when Google tries to populate it, one of the things said season 2, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
all right, well then.
I mean, they left it at a point where like it could wrap up just fine.
Yeah.
Like it ended right where it was supposed
Hmm.
to like leave the reader, viewer, whoever compelled to be like, oh, what could have happened, right?
Hmm.
Um, a question that I thought of was, what message do you think the story is trying to convey about communication?
Uh, I think it shows how different it is for everyone. I remember I want to say this is earlier on, the theme kind of repeats, or the her thoughts on this, Yuki's thoughts on this kind of build throughout the different situations, but where she talks about how when she's watching Itsuomi's fingers and hands when he signs, how it almost looks like he's trepidatious, as if he's trying to protect her or something like that. And I was just like, you know, obviously when you can speak vocally, you can sort of hear that and see that, and maybe even see it in the body language when someone shifts to say something. But because I'm not around a lot of people that do sign language, I don't think about how your hands can convey that. And people say you talk with your hands, but really we're just gesturing versus literally talking with our hands.
Yeah. Um, I think that you hit the nail on the head there. Like it like conveys a lot about communication. There, like the girl who got her the part time job, Monaco. She went deaf later on in life, so she remembers how to speak,
Hmm.
but has to sign. And one of the things that I loved about that is that like it just shows that she could still communicate and like keep her authenticity and her personality and everything like that, and but like enter this world of like sign. And that's the thing that kind of intrigued me about like how Itsuyomi looked at her, right? Like, and the way that she looked at him as like, there's a whole world that that I don't, and you want me to be a part of that. And he did the same thing, right? He was like,
Hmm.
I love languages, I love learning about cultures, but there's this whole world that you see, that you experience, that you like are in, that I don't know anything of, and I want to like learn that with you. I thought it was really it like explains so much about that, and like her friends would like talk slowly so that she could read their lips.
Hmm.
um Even Oshi, like at the very end when his sister was like, you should just get the book, and he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I will.
Bring This is another thing that I saw when people were reviewing the show, and I guess according to this redditor that responded, this is like a common shojo animation manga illustration trope, is for them to have bigger lips. Which I saw
Really?
their lips and I didn't think anything of it because I have bigger lips. But someone was just like, "Yeah, why are their lips so big?" And I was just like, I went back and I was just like, I guess their lips are, I guess,
Oh yeah,
standardly
yeah. Now that I
bigger.
think about it,
Like, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it flowed. Like, I didn't notice it.
Huh.
Yeah. Because I at first I was just like, oh well, maybe they just did to show more pronouncement to when they speak, so she can read lips. But yeah, I don't know if this is true because I haven't seen any other shoujos.
Yeah.
But
That's interesting. I mean, obviously, the only person that I saw that had big lips was Oshi's friend,
no, yeah,
which I didn't understand that. Like, I don't know if it was meant to be like he's a foreigner who lives in Japan or is a foreigner that was born in Japan. Um, I don't know. That was a little weird to me, but that's interesting because yeah, you're right. Itsuyomi did have like when they had those shots of just him,
hmm
he did have bigger lips. Um, but speaking of animation, do you feel like it enhanced the storytelling?
yeah. I think generally when we in like shonen anime, when you see the blushing or any of the other kind of emotional reactions to embarrassment or love or anything of that nature, like it's generally played for more comedic effect. Whereas here, I felt like it really leaned into the love aspect because I feel like most shonen anime are really poor in the love
Yeah,
aspect. So whereas that is more as comedic, this one was more. It was romantic. It was sweet. It was just like, oh, she's really feeling this romantic feeling in a way that could be commonly interpreted as something that might make someone blush or someone that be like, oh, that's just a sweet gesture or something like that.
yeah, yeah. There were moments where like it was when Emma and Shin were walking, like they just had the blush on themselves,
hmm
while they were holding hands. Um, but the one thing that I will say about the animation that I actually really truly liked was how the colors blended. Like
Mm-hmm.
when Yuki was just there, she was pink and or like reddish pink, and Itsuyomi was blue. And
hmm
whenever they were together to like show that their relationship is forming and that their relationship is growing, like the colors would start to blend in the middle into like a purple.
Yeah.
It was really I thought that was really cool and really like different because it's not
hmm
some obviously as a shonen head that's like not something I've seen. So
hmm
maybe if I watch another shojo, I'll see those kind of things. Um, do you feel like this is a good gateway to romance anime for people who don't watch romance anime?
I honestly don't know. I feel like I'd have to see another one to really be able to gauge that because you know if this one is one of the best, then I don't know, because I wasn't all. It was just okay to me. But if there's another one that I think is far better, then I'd be like, okay, maybe watch that one. Because for a gateway, you want it to be good enough that it leaves a taste in their mouth for wanting more.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a taste in my mouth for even wanting to watch more of this versus not more shoujos, but just more of this particular anime.
Yeah, because like when I saw that there might be a season two, it's different because if I'm like, oh, season two of this is coming out, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm ready, right? But if someone said, oh, season two of A Sign of Affection is coming out, I'd be like, oh, cool. I'm not,
Enjoy.
yeah, I'm not gonna go out of my way to like watch it. I'm not saying that this was, I didn't know that this was one of the best, to be honest.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Um,
don't know if it's one of the best. I'm just saying
uh,
if it was.
so if it is one of the best, great, right? Like, I just I don't know any I can't compare it to anything else. Like when I think of a romance anime, I think of like I think the only thing that I've ever watched that's even like close to romance anime, even though some people I guess say that it is Visions of Escaflowne. But that's like an old anime, right? It's like a mecha isekai slash romance civil
hmm
war kind of thing.
I mean, for me, the closest would be Rurouni Kenshin because its tagline is a Meiji love story, and it's like, kinda,
Yeah,
kinda. It's still definitely shonen,
yeah.
100%.
What I mean, like what romances are there in shonen?
There, if you look at the big ones, none of them are particularly good.
I mean, yeah, you're
in
right. They're
terms of like actual romances. Like they're always done at the woman character's expense.
yeah,
Like
like
that's all they are. Looking at
uh,
you, Sakura,
poor Sakura.
she
The
deserves better.
She does, because the manga did so well for her, and Studio Pierrot just messed her up. Anyway, but yes, no, you're right. Like,
I I do want to say one thing. So in the last a month or so, I think one prior to watching this and one post to watching this. So I watched what's it called? Off Campus, which is an Amazon rom-com romantic drama uh based off of books that's teenage not college students, so same age. But one's a hockey player, one's a music major that wants to do film scores. This is what she wants to do with her life, and then she tutors him, and then they do the whole well, let's fake date so you can get the guy you really want,
yeah.
and you can tutor me, and then they fall for each
Oh
other,
wait,
and so
is a movie or a show?
it's a show.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, although it's very similar to I guess the first season of Bridgerton's thing. So I guess this is a trope because I'm like, you can't get away with it twice and not, the other person not sue the other person.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I've watched in the last couple weeks because of one of my coworkers is Love Island. I texted you this
You
earlier,
did text me this earlier.
and it's like watching this cute kind of wholesome slice of life anime, and then watching Love Island right after is so funny.
It's complete. It's got to be the complete opposite. I know nothing
Well,
about Love Island.
I mean, Love Island, they're saying they're trying to build connections and they're trying to find, their partner, their forever person, and whatever. And it's like, what happens is they bring 8, 10 individuals to start off the show. And then they play different games in that first episode to try and get some icebreakers, get some personalities out there, and then at the end of the first episode, they choose who they want to couple with, right, out of the other pairings. And so then after that, but like all these games and challenges and icebreakers they do in that first episode, like it'd be like, okay, here are 3 doors. Are you a dog person, cat person, or are you a plant person, right? And so some guys would get behind one door and get behind the other door, or whatever, and then the girl would open the door or the guys would open the door, and whoever was on the other side of that door they had to make out with.
What?
Yeah. And if there are 2 people on like both sides, like so if it's 2 guys and 2 girls at one door, they make out with the other person, then they swap, and then they make out with the other person. And so then after they played a few of those games, then they chose who they wanted to couple with. And then all the subsequent episodes, they do different challenges that often involve making out with other people that they're coupled with. And then they introduce bombshells, which are new people that are like a new guy or a new girl that then are basically there to disrupt things and possibly recouple with other people, and then people can get kicked off the show. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So going from a sign of affection, which is very Japanese love, to this has got to be, that's like the stark opposite.
Yes, it is very commercialized. You can't even really call it romance as much as like, okay, they're trying to build a connection. They're also trying to win $100,000, but it's very like it's funny because one character they had just kicked off one character, and there was this whole debate where like the girls kicked them off and they're debating about lust, and they're like, oh, he was very lustful. It didn't look like he was here to form a connection. And one of the guys was just like, aren't we all lustful? Aren't we all like aren't we all just making out with each other? Is this not just lust? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's not wrong.
I'm like, it's not wrong. I was just like, like this is what we're here for. It's like there's that, and then like I think I watched the episode earlier today, and then I was watching some of A Sign of Affection to sort of like refresh my memory, and I'm
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
man, what a stark contrast.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think didn't they only kiss like once or twice?
Yeah, I think there were only a handful of kisses throughout the whole show.
Yeah, because the side characters didn't,
Yeah.
and I think that he kissed her when he got back from that trip, like after that the train passed in front of them. And then I think that's the only real time. No, once when they were camping.
Yeah, and then I think there was the one foreigner that like kissed him on the cheek, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But there
Yeah,
wasn't
that, I think
like
that's about
a
it.
lot of it. It's so they
Yeah,
go.
Love Island will put that to shame in like 30 seconds.
Um, was there any scene that like made you feel emotional in that show?
No. No.
Likewise, none.
Nah, it was cool. It was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was exactly. That's exactly what it was. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Like I did laugh a lot.
Hmm.
I did
Oh yeah.
laugh at Yuki. I laughed at like
Yuki and Ren,
yeah.
Emma and Shin, Emma and Itsuomi.
Yep.
Like when Emma was just like, "How are you going to invite a girl into your place and then leave?" And I was just like, "He just did."
Yeah. Also, like she I mean, she didn't give up.
Yeah.
I'm proud of her for not giving up. The one what's one thing this is going to be my next question. What's one thing that bothered you about thing? You know what really bothered me is that
Hmm.
she when Itsuyomi asked, does your family sign? She was like, "No, we just talk with gestures um or like on the phone." And I'm like, "Wait a second, you're telling me that your parents, you've been deaf since birth
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
and they don't sign?"
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I'm looking at it from like an American standpoint right now. Like maybe in Japan it's not like that big of a deal. Like but like what?
But also, I mean, if you think about it, that phone thing is very recent.
Yeah, exactly.
Because not only just, if she's college age, that means her
She's
parents could
19.
be, yeah. So like that means her parents could be older millennial or very young Gen X. So it's like they could be decent with phones, but if you're talking, especially like talk to text or text to talk, that's very new.
Yeah. It was just wild to me. I was like, how can your parents not sign? Like what? Um so yeah, it was just very weird to me. Um but yeah, what was there anything that you didn't like or that like was
Uh,
jarring, caught you off guard?
I mean, yeah. There was that. I don't know if much did. I wasn't feeling Oshi for a little bit. Like I was just like, homie. Well, I mean, I don't think I ever was just like, oh, okay, he's all right. But I was just like, bro, what are you doing? Because it started up like you definitely didn't start him off in a good light, and I don't think he stayed there. But he was never like a villain,
Yeah.
and anyway, he was just kind of just a dick with no purpose.
I don't know if he was supposed to be like I was at first I was kind of like, "Oh, I see where it's going because like he's a dick because he has feelings for her and he won't say anything." Like it's the normal tropes, but like even like in romance things or like in rom-coms. But why?
Yeah.
Why like you called her a fool all the time, you know? And it wasn't like, when you're like flirting with somebody and you're like, "You're so stupid," right?
Yeah.
It was more along the lines of like, no,
You
you're
dumbass.
dumb. You're dumb. Um, I don't know. I'm conflicted about Oshi because like he had all of the things that would be beneficial for Yuki. But then I also like that Yuki was like her own person. She went out of her way to like get her
Mhm.
passport to like find her own job. Like, it was great.
Uh,
I like Yuki's
yeah,
phenomenal.
even to the point where when she was talking about how she went to the school that was considered safe for deaf people and those are hard of hearing, but she wanted to go out and venture further.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, she's a stellar, a very very good main character. I really really liked her. I liked all the characters.
Besides Oshi.
Besides Oshi. Yeah, Oshi. Although one of the weird things to me was like, Itsuomi knows that Oshi likes Yuki. Why would
Hmm.
Itsuomi want to be his friend?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why are you trying to like be friends with somebody that you know has feelings for the girl that you're with?
Like it'd be one thing if Oshi and Yuki were legitimately friends, but I can't see this as them being friends.
No, because they're. I mean, they're not.
Yeah. So, like it's not even remotely something where it's just like, oh, okay. Like you can be cordial if you
Yeah,
want. Although if you're being rude to her, like then we're not going to be cordial. Like
yeah,
you can step off, but I don't know if just it's only just being just a laid back dude. I don't know.
yeah. Like, I mean, obviously he doesn't feel threatened. He doesn't feel worried. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was just very strange to me. Because like, I guess Itsuyomi got the feeling that Oshi didn't like him because he was dating Yuki. But then
Hmm.
it's like, okay, so why do you want to be friends with him? What is this going to accomplish?
Yeah.
Um, that's I mean that's literally it. But again, there's not really much that like you can say about this. It was very straightforward, very very like I met someone, I like them, we're
Hmm.
together.
Yep. Occasionally, he palms my head like a basketball.
He would pinch my cheek to let me know. I mean, that was kind of weird, but also like in a caring kind of way. Because
Like,
she said right, didn't she say something like it's a little jarring, and I don't really like know the. I guess in a manner of speaking, she was like, I don't really know the cues,
hmm
and he was like, well, I'll give you like a little pinch on the cheek when like we can kiss or something like that. And I was like, that's interesting. I don't know. It was weird.
yeah, it's definitely different.
Yes, very, very different. But again, it's a completely different culture.
Yeah.
So I went in with that. So like, did you want to do the rating of like the things that I said, or do you want to just do like out of 10?
We'll do out of 10. We'll,
Okay.
we'll wait till we get a few more before we rate like
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
the ones we've seen.
Um, I don't know. I feel like it wasn't bad. It wasn't like amazing. It just was.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And for people for context, obviously big Star Wars fan. I love like the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and I recognize them for what they are. Like Phantom Menace, I'd give like a 6.5 or maybe 7 out of 10. And Attack of the Clones, I'd give a 6 or 6.5. Like
Yeah,
I still watch those movies. Like
same.
yeah. So I'm not saying by any means a 6 out of 10 is bad. You're like, oh, that's a 60%. That's a D, and it's like we're not thinking like that.
No, no, no. This is more along the lines of like, it's not mid, right? It's not bad, and it's not great. It's just like right in
It's okay.
between. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
And it's okay to have pieces of media that are just okay.
Yeah.
Because if everything's great, then nothing is.
There you go. It's like
Syndrome from The
there
Incredibles.
you go. I was gonna no, actually, I was gonna quote Dash from The Incredibles and being like,
Ah,
everyone's special in their own way. Dash. It's just another way of saying no one's special.
yeah. Or like Syndrome just basically just said like once everybody's super, no
No
one will
one was
be.
super. Yeah. Um. Oh, I know which one we should watch next.
Hmm.
Unless you have like a really short one, but this one's 6 episodes, so we could even record next week if you're free. Taco Yopi's Original Sin.
Never heard of it.
Okay, so A lot of people have told me, I know nothing about it, right? I just know that it's very traumatic.
Okay. So we going from wholesome to trauma. All right.
We
All
went
right.
we went from Gurren Lagann,
Yeah.
fucking
Which was both wholesome, tragic, and action packed.
action, yeah, mech, um, friends to or enemies to friends, all that stuff, to
Mm-hmm.
wholesome, and now we're
Mm-hmm.
going traumatic. Yeah,
Okay.
I interviewed someone at Philly Fan Expo, and he said, I said, "What anime broke you?" And he said that, and I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, I watched it, and like, I don't know that I'd ever do a rewatch of that." I was like, "Damn!" And it's 6 episodes,
Okay.
so.
All right.
And I am currently still watching uh, the Gundam one that you recommended,
Mm-hmm.
so then we can get to that one eventually.
Yeah.
Because 48 episodes is a lot.
I mean, maybe we'll just break that up into segments. We'll do like, you know, this one, and then we'll do, just a check in on where we are
Part one.
on yeah, and then we'll come back to it.
Uh,
Just a little in between.
yeah, yeah. No, but I think Takayopi's Original Sin is a good one. I like these like short ones that like I can just like finish through in a weekend or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So this is Talk No Jitsu. It'll be up on both of our YouTube pages. Make sure you follow us on both of them.
Yes, like, comment, subscribe, show us
Yeah,
some love. Let us know what you thought about the show. If you haven't seen it, if you have seen it, if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back and let us know what you thought.
that's right. All of those things. Yeah. Also, if you want to recommend something, we try to do this once every 2 weeks, 12 to 24 episodes. Nothing more than that because, we're busy. We have lives outside of social media and we want to, enjoy the anime, not have it feel like
Homework.
exactly.
This isn't the MCU.
No, it is not. Which I'm very excited for a lot of the things that are coming out. Well, mainly one thing that's coming out in July, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll see how I feel about that movie.
Oh, no. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.